Like, that was before the club had even opened. There was a couple of people hanging about. McGee was one of them. And it just, something just hit him, man, or whatever. Don't know.
That's the stuff of sort of fairy tales, though, really, isn't it?
But it's the truth, and no one believes us.
And it's funny, James, you think back to that time, it's kind of forgotten sometimes, but, you know, doing interviews on television and radio for, you know, alternative indie bands, you know, whatever you want to call them, it still wasn't. I'm not sure if it still is now, actually, if the truth be told, but it you know, a lot of bands didn't enjoy that side of what they, you know, of what they had to do in a way, really. Whereas Noel and Liam, you could see, were in their element. You know, they were absolute naturals, and you know, when I think back to that, you know, to that interview, you know, my memory is that Noel couldn't really get a word in, you know, because, you know, Liam's just in his absolute element, as I said, and you know, ridiculously young. I mean, how old would he have been then, James?
21, yeah.
And you know, but Noel, you know, was what, 3-4 years older. It's funny, you know, when I kind of sort of think back to that interview, I can't help but sort of think about, you know, the famous quote that George Martin always said about, you know, the Beatles, when he was asked whether you know, why he signed them, and he said that you know, he enjoyed being around them almost as much as the music, and that, I think, you know, I know it's easy to say it with hindsight, but you know, at the time, they were such a breath of fresh air, you know, whereas bands kind of previous, not all of them, you know, you would get exceptions, but a lot of bands, you know, it was kind of like pulling teeth interviews. You know, you could almost feel their pain, you know, in having to do an interview, whether it be for radio or for television. But that couldn't be said for Noel and Liam. You know.